And then, commandment number 9 comes from Polonius. And even though Polonius came long after Moses did, he was the character in Hamlet. And Polonius said to his son, neither a lender nor a borrower be. And so I think Buffett's tweak on Polonius is neither a long-term lender nor a short-term borrower be. So basically, you don't want to introduce leverage into your life. I think that to finish first, you have to first finish, and we want to make sure that we get to play the game, and we get to play the game for a long time. So the key is to spend less than we earn, and put that difference in a compounding engine. If you're spending more than you're earning, then it's not a good thing. And I have a blog. Some of you might have visited the blog, but I'll put an ad in for my blog here. My blog is called Chai with Pabrai, and so if you ever feel like having a cup of tea with me, you can go to my blog. And one of the first posts I made in fact, one of the impetus to set up the blog was a guy named Mr. Money Mustache. Some of you, maybe you can raise your hands. How many of you have heard of Mr. Money Mustache? Just raise your hand if you ever heard of him. We have a few enlightened humans in the room, which is great. So Mr. Money Mustache is a good person that you should get familiar with. I always expect that I'm going to hear that Mr. Money Mustache got divorced because his wife can't deal with him. But I think he married Mrs. Money Mustache. And so I think she's even more gung-ho about his methods than he is. But anyway, Mr. Money Mustache, I think he's in his early 30s now. But he, at 22, he was a software engineer. And he decided that he was going to be retired at the age of 30. And he was going to be retired at the age of 30, not because he got some exit from some company, but he would retire at 30 being a software engineer, having just made a normal software engineer salary for 8 years. So he ran his life for 8 years. Like, for example, Mr. Money Mustache would not be caught dead in a Starbucks. Paying $4 for a coffee ain't happening. He's more like 5 cents for a coffee. So I think he had like a 60% or 70% savings rate. So he has a car, but I think he consumes about 2 gallons of gas a year in that car, and his bike gets a lot of mileage. He's bikes everywhere, and he's a carpenter. I think he built most of his own house somewhere in the woods of Colorado, and anyway, I think it's worth going to his blog. I think you might have some difficulty with some of his methods, but if you even follow 1/3 of what he does, you'll be on a great path. So he carefully looked at every expense us humans have. He decided that the way the economy is set up, which is we take a bunch of loans when we get jobs, which is we buy a fancy car and have a loan, and buy a fancy house, or have high rent and all that. That was all for the birds. He wasn't doing that. He took no debt. He drove a beater, I think, and basically he just looked at every line item that he had expenses with, and nothing was going to be spent. So anyway, and of course, now the funny thing is, Mr. Money Mustache, through his blog, makes several $100,000 a year because his blog is so popular. And he's a little disappointed about that. He's kind of sad about it because he didn't want to kind of be making all this money. He wanted to prove that he can, live the way he does. So he claims at least that all that money is going to charity. So maybe it is, which is great. But he's a great example to follow, and first story on my blog, amongst many other good stories.